Okay, I'll try. I have quite a long presentation. It's full of theory because it reflects our commitments in addition to a bit of what we're doing currently. So I'll give you a brief about the group, Haggar Group and its background, and our new focus areas and how they're linked to the SDGs. I will speak a bit about our corporate sustainability and social impact understanding or policies that are based on the ISO 26000, on the our internal ESG policy and the UNGC. So that will create a link with the previous presentation that was supposed to take place. And one of our projects that is not necessarily linked with the business, it is a project under one of the departments, but it also has a lot of touch points with the SDGs. So this is quite small, but this is the group history, and the group started back in 1904, and it has invested and divested of quite a lot of businesses, starting off by agriculture, gold mining, soap production, coffee and tea plantations, going into tobacco, divesting out of tobacco, and moving into soft drinks and food and beverages, and industry, engineering, and then again back into agriculture. Recently, this is our mission. I wanted to share our mission because again it has a touch point with the SDGs. Our mission is, our vision actually is dream, deliver, share. By dream we mean aspiring to implement businesses that will have profit and have benefit to the group, but also to share those with the community. So sharing is a big part of how we look at doing business. And can you, Iman? Okay. And we're looking at not being only a Sudan-based group, because we're not. We look at ourselves as our identity is African. We look at ourselves as being as a trusted group, trusted African and successful. We recently reformulated our focus areas to look into ICT, energy, and agriculture. We do have already businesses invested in these three areas, but I'm here just creating the link, the vision of each focus area and how it is linked with the SDGs. So in energy, our vision is to enable sustainable development across Africa, starting off most probably by Sudan, by accelerating access to conventional and renewable energy. So not only energy in the oil and gas sector, but rather energy that is renewable. And by that, if you look at each one of these goals, each of the SDG goals has actually sub-goals, okay? And if you look at the sub-goals, you will get exactly a feel of what you can do to contribute to these goals. We cannot claim that we are going to achieve them, or we're going to sole-handedly achieve a certain goal. We are only contributing, and even when contributing, we're contributing to a few of the sub-goals of each goal. So if we look at the renewable energy, just simply by increasing the share of the mix between renewable energy and the standard global energy, the standard energy, be it hydro, be it fossil fuels, by increasing that increasing that share of renewable energy in the global energy mix, we are contributing to SDG 7. Again, expanding infrastructure and upgrading technology for supplying modern and sustainable energy in all developing countries, and particularly the least developed countries, which the majority of also lie in Africa, we are contributing to SDG 7. This is an SDG that appeared a lot in the SAY group projects, but Iman chose to ignore. I think it's the 12 responsible consumption and production. It's you have a lot of that SDG in your projects? Basically, because when you help farmers and small-scale herders, in producing responsibly, you have a lot of SDG 12, yeah, Iman, I'm saying, which is the responsible production and consumption. In ICT, we are responding to SDG 9. So by significantly increasing access to information and communication technology, we have an ICT company that operates in Ghana, Nigeria, and Senegal, and another in Sudan. So this is linked with SDG 9. In agriculture, our vision is to support Africa's growth by fostering the trade and value-add processing. So trading in a lot of commodities, agricultural commodities, and value add to these commodities. And by that, we respond to 5 SDGs, particularly 1, 8, 9, 11, and 12, and 15. 15 is life on land. When you work on land, you combat desertification, you also create job opportunities, and you combat poverty. One last thing, no, it's not one last thing, but I would like to take us a few steps back to reflect what is our understanding of CSR and CSI, and why do we call it CSI? Can you just, no, you're going backwards. Yes. So we aim at running our group in a way which balances the need of the group to make profit with the impact the group has on the environment, on the community on which we operate, and the people with whom we employ or we have an effect on, either directly or indirectly. So with the regional expansion we underwent, we had to comply with international CSR standards. So our CSR policies are led or guided by the ISO standards 26000, by the UN Global Compact 10 principles, and by the UN Sustainable Development Goals, and our ESG policy. So hence, we have gone the extra mile not to only deal with the negative impacts, because as a business, whether we like it or not, we do have a negative impact. So you need to deal with the negative impact, and we are striving to fully integrate social, environmental, and governance issues into our business plans and our strategic plans. So the core business activities. Hence, we transformed. We do not refer to CSR or corporate social responsibility anymore. We do not refer to it as such. We refer to it as corporate sustainability and social impact. When we look at our CSI principles, we are basing them on the ISO standards of organizational governance, fair operating practices, the environment, labor practices, community involvement and development, human rights, and consumer issues. So we look at different things under these themes, ranging from compliance to environmental projects, to community development projects that could be education, it could be health, it could be water and sanitation, it could be calculating our carbon footprint, it could be how we deal with our consumer issues, it could be having a responsible supply chain, fair competition, accountability, transparency. All of these factors fall into a business being sustainable and minimizing the negative impact we could have. We have recently adopted a policy, an ESG policy, which we are yet to transform into activities and indicators for monitoring and evaluation. And an ESG policy, it acts as a guideline and framework for the business and the people within the business to identify what investments could we go into and our business operations. So we have an ESG policy is composed of an environmental focus, a social focus, and a governance focus. So our environmental focus is mainly around reducing our carbon emissions and promoting material efficiency in our supply chain. Our social focus involves the well-being of our employees and the awareness of our local communities and how our businesses affect them. And the governance focus centers around due processes, best practices, accountability, compliance, anti-corruption, and all of that. So I will not take you through these. If you can just move on until, because these are detailed activities that we can do and are doing under the environmental and social and governance focus. We are also a signatory of the UNGC. The UNGC local network, we have been, the chairman, our chairman, Sayyid Anis Haggar, has been one of the founders of the local network. However, we have not been signatories for the purpose of not wanting to report because of an internal policy that we do not want to report on whatever we are doing in terms of community development and so forth. That was an internal decision, but that was later changed because the reporting format of the UNGC, you just report against the SDGs or the sustainable activities you're having. So we became an official signatory back in April 2017. Our first report to the UNGC was submitted in 2018. We have been marked as active, which means that we are actually responding to or doing activities and measures against the 10 UNGC principles. Of course, UNGC 10 principles are around 4 themes: human rights, labor, environment, anti-corruption. So if you take these 4, you can skip this. If you take these 4 focus areas and work on them, you are already cutting a long way or crossing a long way in making your business sustainable. I'll give you just a quick example of one project that is strongly linked to the SDGs, particularly SDG 17, because it has been implemented in partnership with local NGO and community-based organizations and the WFP. And it's a project of procuring and distributing fuel-efficient stoves for women in Darfur. It has been implemented in 10 villages with additional sub-villages. So the project is actually a partnership between Haggar, a company called, at the time it was called Carbon Clear, but it has been changed, and UNWFP that have been acting as advisors, but Women Development Association Network is a local NGO composed of 63 or community-based organizations in Al-Fashir, composed fully of women, and they were the actual implementers. We were co-implementers, and WFP and Carbon Clear were providing us with the technical support. The aim of, or if you can go back please, the objective of the project is to reduce the depletion of natural resources, namely firewood, in the state of North Darfur via the promotion of a stove that is fuel efficient. Please. The location of the project is in Al-Kuma and Al-Fashir localities, and the villages have been selected based on the need for intervention because of the depletion of the firewood. We have distributed 5,000 stoves, and we aimed at reducing 5,950 tons of carbon, of CO2 per year, a total of 41,000. That was the initial figure when we initiated the project. The project started in 2013. The actual activity started in 2014. We recently have been monitored and evaluated and verified that in the first 3 years only, we have reduced 12,681 tons. So the idea of the project is to actually generate income by trading these carbon credits and sharing the income with Women Development Association Network. the impact or the benefits of the project are very much linked to the SDGs in terms of improving the air quality inside the huts. It has a cash saving or a money saving component. It has an employment component because people from all the participating villages were involved in the assembly and distribution of the 5,000 stoves. It reduces largely the time and effort spent in the firewood collection, and in biodiversity because it significantly reduced the firewood consumption. Yeah. Access to energy services and emission reduction, so an impact on the environment. And the fact that once we collect the money for the carbon trading, it will be shared back with the community. So this is the stove. This is one of the ladies, and a quote from her end saying that using the stove has made a big difference to their households as it does not emit smoke and is very light, enabling them to move it from one location to the other. Smoke used to bother them a lot, irritating their eyes, chests, and making their kids sick. So, yeah, can you please move? These are the SDGs linked with this project. It's the no poverty because of the cash saving, addressing indoor air pollution, so good health and well-being. Gender equality because it built the women's managerial capacity. It was a project solely run by women. Affordable and clean energy, so promoting energy saving techniques. Climate action because of reducing the greenhouse gases. Life on land, contributing to environmental conservation because it reduces the consumption of firewood. And most importantly, partnerships for the goals, because this was a project that was a pure partnership between a local NGO, a private sector, and a UN agency. If you would like to read more about these projects or about our work with the UNGC, you may access these websites. I can share the link with Nada and the team. Thank you.
So please remember, if we all help and do a little bit, it will make a big difference.